So who actually won, David or Goliath?
Let's dance.
Alright, I'm Cedric and you are on Laughing Museum. Thank you so much for watching. If you like that video, do not hesitate to put a thumbs up, even to subscribe. Today we're talking about this guy. This is Michelangelo's work named Goliath. Except, of course, this is not the original. I am in Nice on the French Riviera. Everybody knows a little bit the story between David and Goliath. So basically Goliath was kind of a giant and they sent David, a small dude, to fight. So it was insulting, but actually we know the story that David won that fight with a single stone. But today we're not here to talk about the Old Testament. Today we're here to talk mostly about Michelangelo, of course. A few things you need to know about Michelangelo and that statue in particular. So Michelangelo, for one thing, wrote a fantastic poem. You should read the poetry of Michelangelo. Speaking Italian is a plus, I admit that, right? That he was not a painter, that he was just a sculptor. As a reminder, and I'm hoping I'm not insulting anyone doing that, Michelangelo painted the entire Sistine Chapel, the ceiling and the Last Judgment wall. On this one, what you need to know is that this particular marble of Carrara, this one is a bronze production, again made by a gift by a fantastic guy in 2015 in the city, gallerist, fantastic gallerist, forgot his name, so I'm going to put his name right here, and his face probably on the David by Michelangelo. In 2015 it was supposed to be only for a couple of years, but actually it's been now staying for like 7 years, 6 or 7 years going. So we're very happy to have, of course, a Michelangelo right here in Nice, apparently staying for quite some time, right? A few things you need to know about Michelangelo's sculpture. So this one was started in 1464 by, gonna put the name right here, and the size of the block of the marble from Carrara, and I'm going to say a word about that in just a second, was so big that Agostino di Duccio, his name is coming back right now, but you probably read that by now, abandoned that work, and it was taken by another one who abandoned as well, and finally 1501 to 1504 it was made by very young Michelangelo. Ironically enough, 1504 is probably also the time when the Mona Lisa was ordered to a certain Leonardo da Vinci. What interests me on the work of Michelangelo on there is that apart from the choice, the city of Firenze decided to have a David to show that even a small city can actually fight bigger cities, and the symbol was quite strong, of course. Here the symbol is mostly the work of a young Michelangelo, saying that he could himself fight in the big league, right? If you forgive me an American expression right there. And I think that is quite fascinating to know that fact. A few things about Michelangelo, who was apparently not the nicest dude on earth. If you read a few biography, had a thing for little boys, for example. Nowadays I would accept that. But a fantastic book made by Dominique Fernandez on Bronzino, and apparently there was kind of saying, you know, like the trainers in sport and stuff like that. So thank God we're changing world on that, and I'm saying that as a father of two young boys, right? Interesting with this one, we know that Agostino and then the next sculptor, forgot the name, I'm going to put right there, decided to renounce to the project mostly because the marble of Carrara has too much veins in it, so we're not pure enough, and they consider this impurity was mostly made for Gothic work and not good enough for the Renaissance work, which was of course the modern art of the time, the new way to go. And the thing is, like, Michelangelo found that absolutely beautiful, and if you look at the one that is in Firenze, Galleria di Uffizi, you see those vein lines into the marble, and nowadays we all know we move into a marble with a lot of veins. I mean, who would do his kitchen with actually no veins? By the way, try not to do that. Apparently the planet is running out of marble, so go with the fake marble. We do fantastic fake marble nowadays, right? And I'm not going for fake mostly, but on the marble, trying to save the planet, do not use too much marble, right? Or maybe reuse marble that has been used before. And so this vein was beautiful. Also, he came up with something new, which is not really easy to see on this one. He came up with the idea that unfinished is beautiful, right? It's coming from the philosophy of the humanists in the 16th century that were rereading the Greek philosophers, and maybe you know, if you go to Greece, there's some unfinished temple representing philosophy and a way of life, right? Life is never finished. You never know where you come from, you never know where you're going. It's also based on the idea of St. Augustine, etc., etc. So a lot of writings on that kind of subject, right? Unfinished is beautiful. This one is not a good example, but if you go in the Louvre or in other museums, you will find the Slaves by Michel-Angelo, and they are actually unfinished. You had baboons hidden in the statues, for example, and they are not finished, which is an example of the power of having marble with veins in it and unfinished work, right? This will inspire a French sculptor like Auguste Rodin, for example, and they will considerably change the work in itself. In a way, it could have inspired a guy like Sacha Sosno. I did a video on Sacha Sosno. Do not hesitate to check that video on Sosno as well. Another thing you should know about the David by Michel-Angelo right there, and I'm going to try to send her there so you can see the guy with only a single stone in his hand. Remember, he was fighting that giant named Goliath, and that's really the symbol. He really emphasized that stone here. Michel-Angelo, again, if you see the reproduction from the 2000 made in a place in Italy. I'm going to write the name of the guy with that fantastic bronze from the original cast of a marble, right? So that's it for Michel-Angelo. So quick heads up on David by Michel-Angelo here in Nice. If you pass by Nice, you can enjoy a Michel-Angelo every single day. How crazy is that? Of course, you could talk about Michel-Angelo forever, as I'm just going to go around the statue, because that's the thing with a statue, and you see the line in the back, right? What is interesting is, like, when the fight started, Goliath was almost laughing, and he said it was insulting that they sent actually such a small guy to find the giant Michel-Angelo. This one nowadays is 5 meters high. I find that a little bit ironic, as makes such a big piece of a marble, and that marble from Carrara became super famous, and a lot of sculpture wanted to work with that marble of Carrara. Just one last thing about that marble of Carrara. I know they make some ham in it in Carrara, and if you're eating ham, which I'm not, that's one of the last thing I had with all becoming meat free. It was a meat made in that marble from Carrara. I'm saying that why? Like, what? You guys don't eat meat, but you advise to eat meat? I don't advise anything. I talk about artistry, but I know Leonardo da Vinci, and that's going to be on one of my next videos, was a vegetarian, and he was cooking meat for his assistant, and I always love that story. Absolutely fantastic. That's it for today. Do not hesitate to subscribe. You can find a link to my book on the Louvre. You can find the link to my live conference every night, or you can come visit museums with me almost everywhere in France. Don't forget, no matter what you do, do it with a smile, because if you don't, well, you're doing it wrong.